I'm Donna Bush with your CIGTV News Brief on this Thursday. We begin with a community update on COVID-19 from Chief Medical Officer Dr. John Lee.
Overnight, we have had some further reports of positives. So just as a summary from yesterday I reported a total of 10 people related to the Georgetown Primary School outbreak, of which 2 are adults who had been related to somebody who had visited the school. Today, unfortunately, I have to report a further 9 children that are related, and these children across yesterday's reporting and today are in years 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. The outbreak investigation has not yet completed. We're still trying to trace a few more remaining children and their families. So please do remain indoors in isolation until you are given a message to say that you can be released. Of course, any primary contacts that we identify are immediately contacted by public health, given support, advice, and so on. But in any event, everyone related to the incident who's been asked to remain at home, please do so until you're advised otherwise. Overnight, we've also heard that there is a prison officer who unfortunately was feeling unwell yesterday. That person is fully vaccinated, so hoping that person will make very good progress. But that has obviously put the prison in a difficult position, and they have instituted procedures in order to protect both the staff and, of course, very importantly, the inmates of Northwood, Her Majesty's Prison Northwood.
Again, those figures from Dr. Lee were released at 8 o'clock on Thursday morning. You can watch Dr. Lee's entire statement on the CIG Television YouTube channel and other government channels. Remember to go online to gov.ky and hsa.ky for the very latest results, as well as a schedule for vaccination clinics. In other COVID-related news, we hear from Director of the Department of Education Services, Mr. Mark Ray, who outlines the measures that the DES has put in place since the closure of the Georgetown Primary School to ensure continuity of learning for students.
So once we were notified that the school had to be closed, we immediately enacted our continuity of operations plan. And we got notification out to parents very, very quickly. Kudos to the principal and her deputy principal for acting extremely quickly in that situation. Once communication went out and the testing was underway, we realized that we needed to facilitate some deep cleaning of the actual school compound. So what that would mean is that each and every space within the school, it had a thorough cleaning administered to it, so that once the all clear is given by public health, the students, staff, they can return to the compound, return to the plant, and feel safe and secure that everything has been cleaned well and sanitized and ready for them to utilize again. So the main feature that underpins the ability for us to pivot to remote learning is the one-to-one laptop initiative that was started at the end of last academic year. And with that, every student receives a device and they're able to log on to the learning platforms as ascribed by the Department of Education and the schools. So the school immediately had a PTA meeting this morning where all parents and students were required to sign on using the devices. And I'm happy to report that we had 258 devices signed in to the PTA meeting. The principal reported that and she was very excited and happy. And that really is a representation of the effectiveness of these types of initiatives in these types of situations. So the first thing they did was to go through with the parents just a reassurance of what would happen during this time, how students would access the learning, what would be the expectations with regard to students accessing learning and submitting their reports and the necessary assignments and so on, how students would be marked in terms of the register. So all of those things they went through, showed them the learning platforms. So that was really critical to put some ease on the parents in terms of feeling a sense of well-being and security that their children will be taken care of from a teaching and learning standpoint. Another big piece that we looked at in terms of supporting schools, not just the students, but also teachers, would be the mental and emotional wellness. And that's a critical piece for us, especially in light of our COVID-19 situation. We recognize that a number of students might feel anxious. There may be some apprehension in terms of what they need to do to keep themselves safe and well. So we have counselors and other staff on hand that can support the students. They're ready, waiting, willing to support households if they're having any of the anxiety or any discomfort or unease or questions even surrounding the COVID-19 virus. We're also looking at a number of households that may need additional support from a meal standpoint. So we have a government-initiated school meals program. It started at the beginning of this academic year, where meals were made available to each and every government school primary student and students of the Lighthouse School for this year. And in January 2022, we would move to the secondary schools. But for Georgetown Primary School, as a primary school, we are looking at supporting those families that may need additional help in regard to meals. So the counselors at the school are working very closely with families to see whether there is a need, and we will operationalize as we did last year when we went into lockdown.
And turning now to our forecast, which shows the high temperature reached 90 degrees today and a low of 77. We can expect partly cloudy skies with a cloudy spells and a 40% chance of afternoon showers with some possible thunder. Winds are from the southeast 10 to 15 knots. Seas are slight to moderate with wave heights of 2 to 4 feet. Now the synopsis shows isolated showers along with moderate southeasterly winds and slight seas, which are expected in association with an upper level system. A tropical wave is expected to move into the Cayman Islands area by this evening and interact with the upper level system to support isolated showers and possible thunder tomorrow. Radar images show widespread showers mainly north of the islands, which for the most part appear to be drifting towards the south while dissipating. The National Hurricane Center has discontinued the issuance of advisories on the remnants of Nicholas. Well, a reminder that you can find the latest unexpected local weather conditions online at weather.gov.ky. And that's it for today's news brief here on CIG Television. I'm Donna Bush, as always, thanking you for joining us, wishing you a safe and wonderful evening, and inviting you back here again tomorrow. Until then, bye-bye for now.
Join Donna Bush weekdays at 6 p.m. for the CIG TV News Update. Get the latest on what's happening in government on a daily basis. News Update first at 6 p.m.